D4VD. David, this case is extremely diabolical. This is something that we stumbled upon maybe 2 weeks ago by accident, just figuring, it was one of those cases that maybe the artist probably, is being framed. If you stick with me to the end of the video, we'll find out what really happened to 15-year-old Celeste. We do not condone to any of the things that you're about to hear, nor do I even know this artist's music, but I felt the need to cover it because, like I said, a few days ago, a Tesla was found and this happened. Real name David Anthony Duke. Reports are surfacing about a car registered to DV4D being discovered in a parking lot along with a decomposing body inside. Fans everywhere are shocked and are demanding answers.
Now, this teacher says he taught Celeste a couple of years ago when she was in middle school, but once he saw all the stories that we were breaking, he decided he wanted to share his information, what happened when Celeste was in his class with his current class. So what you're about to see is the teacher doing a little show and tell with all he knows about Celeste and David and how they met.
That's her in my classroom in front of this poster right here. She's been missing since I taught her. So when I taught her, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA. He came and got her. She ran away from home. She was gone for like a month. The cops found her in Hollywood, brought her back to our school. She came back to our school, kind of told people this story. She disappeared again in May of that year. And then I found out yesterday that she's now dead in that rapper's car, cut into pieces. You want to know how they met? I feel like I just said it. Social media.
So pretty much that's the teacher of the 15-year-old girl, Celeste, and pretty much he just, went down memory lane. She wasn't his class. He was kind of making it into a bit of a, educational point, which is really important that, this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for social media. You know what I'm saying? Because they did meet on social media. So, that was just a teacher. Now, this gets even more dark and gruesome. The whole thing is diabolical. So I'll just present you the evidence we have so far, and let's find out if David really did it. And once again, I want to remind you, we don't come to you guys with anything that isn't already public knowledge or in the media. So, you know what I'm saying? So let's dissect this stuff and let me know what you think.
After this, we get to the song that is probably the most infamous at the moment when it comes to this guy, David. This is the song Romantic Homicide. Now, a lot of people are basically saying that this is the YNW Melly Murder on My Mind moment of this case. You can see people here in the comments saying this is Murder on My Mind all over again. Rest in peace, Celeste. They are definitely 100% going to use this stuff in court. Crazy to think this is now a confession.
So initially when I did the story, it was just, story. Figured, hey, this kind of sounds crazy. But as each day goes by, there's more and more information. And now it just, is kind of a mystery. So I don't know. Let's try to figure this out a little bit, because after I reviewed the songs and, some of the lyrics to many of his songs, it sounded like he may have left some clues, throughout his lyrics. So we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive and rock out with me.
You never hear rappers bragging about or dropping hints about innocent people that they kill, catching an innocent body, hitting a child with a stray bullet. You don't hear that. And I think with this stuff, it's kind of like, because the crime behind it is so heinous, it's so much more, it's so much more unspeakable than the gang violence that we're used to hearing in rap songs. It just hits so close to home, and naming the song "Romantic Homicide" after what we found out now is just absolutely dark. And you notice these white roses covered in blood. This is a big motif for David. A lot of his music videos will reference white roses. Now, probably doesn't take a genius to understand what a white rose represents. A white wedding dress, you know, the white, the clean, the untouched, unbothered. Yeah, very, very messed up. All right. And so in the lyrics, talking about, I'm scared. It feels like you don't care. Enlighten me, my dear. Why am I still here? I don't mean to be complacent with the decisions you made, but why? In the back of my mind, you died, and I didn't even cry. No, not a single tear. And I'm sick of waiting patiently. I'm sick of waiting patiently for someone that won't even arrive. Now, David allegedly explained the meanings behind these lyrics in an episode of Genius Verified, saying it's kind of like the storytelling aspect of the lyrics that came before it in a way that builds up to the big moment where she died in the back of my mind. I didn't kill her physically, but in the back of my mind, she died. Not a single tear. Now, I've seen people online take different meanings and interpretations from that one part of the song where it's like their past selves that are dying. They're not even caring about it because they've evolved and become better people or killed addictions or other stuff. So it's very powerful in that way too.
So basically, you know, at the time that we covered the story, we didn't really have all the information or most of the information. So here you have the missing poster. At the time that she went missing, she was 13 and she went missing in 2024. You know what I'm saying? So again, the story definitely sounded like he was being set up initially when I reported the story, which you know seen in the prior video, but now it's sounding more and more like he's involved.
Now with what we know, it just hits completely different. But he's saying, you died, I didn't even cry, not a single tear. I'm sick of waiting patiently for someone that won't even arrive. In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. But it's true, I hate you. Yeah, very messed up, okay? And so while this is going on, while these songs are coming out, and he's building up this catalogue of very dark, twisted lyrics, she was with her parents 2022 through 2023, decided to run away with him for real in 2024, was found dead in late 2025. So, as I told you before, okay, her birthday is September the 7th, all right? And from here, there begins to be a very strange and dark pattern that emerges, because it seems like what ends up happening is that he ends up doing little things for her on her birthdays, and these are public things. So this is the music video for Romantic Homicide, and he decided to unveil this to the world on September the 7th, 2022, which would have been Celeste's 12th birthday. Just turning 12 at this point.
He trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes. Everything.
The teenage girl had a tattoo that says shush on her finger. Supposedly, he had a matching tattoo that says shush on his finger. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, the more and more evidence come out, it doesn't sound like he's being framed. It actually sounds like he may know a lot about what happened to this young child. You know what I'm saying? Again, he was 22 and she was probably 14, 15 when they found her. You know what I'm saying? But she was 13 in 2024 at the time that she went missing.
Pretty crazy. So this is a back and forth that went down with a deleted user that some people think might have been Celeste. Somebody said, "How are you?" And they were mid. "How about you?" This person piped into the conversation, this deleted user, saying, "Guys, I think I'm pregnant." They're saying, "What?" And then they basically go on to say, "Why do you think you're pregnant?" And so, "Because my belly keeps getting bigger." People saying, "Unexpected. Who going to tell him?" They're saying, "Are you a V?" He said, "It's easier said than done. Sometimes something kicks in my belly." And they basically go on to basically say, somebody says, "Make sure if you're really pregnant or not. And if yes, tell the father and your parents. It might be hard, but you know." And they replied saying, I don't have parents, but thanks for the advice, with people saying possibly this is because she ran away from home. She can't contact her parents anymore. Somebody replies, they go back and forth. This deleted user says, I don't have parents. Someone says, I'm sorry about that. They say, no problem. And then they say they're 17. Now, saying people believe that she was 17. They don't know if this was her. Right now, it's pure speculation. But obviously, there's been a lot of talk about, the possibility that these Discord users or even people in David's team might have actually believed Celeste to be older than she actually was. People saying, they said they thought she was 17 or 18. But then David apparently posted, me and at this deleted user got a kid on the way.
So the text you're seeing is from his Discord channel, which you could see it says down there somewhere below, or somewhere up here rather, I should say, deleted user. And the deleted user is allegedly supposed to be Celeste. So I don't know. There's a whole list of theories flown around out there. This is all sick, twisted stuff. But my theory is David probably got Celeste, who is a minor, which would make him a PDF. He probably accidentally, which is totally diabolical, he probably may have gotten Celeste pregnant, and some way, somehow, wanted to disassociate himself, panicked, and things went left. Shout out Trap Law Ross. For the full content, check out Trap Law Ross page. I do not agree with none of this stuff. Don't know this guy's music from a hole in the wall, but I do think that this is a very this is one of those mysteries that might turn out to be a Netflix series.
Asked if he was happily married or single. And then this basically goes back and forth. It said if the pregnancy wasn't a host and she is pregnant in the autopsy report, she was murdered before March this year. If the autopsy report shows that she recently had a child, then she was murdered more recently than March. And a lot of people are saying it was probably August when the murder likely took place. So this would have been in July, on July the 12th, 2024. And all of this pregnancy talk was going on in 2024. Saying, so yeah, March next year, that's when the baby's due. And this is David saying, yeah, this is the original comment that we saw in the previous slide. David saying, me and deleted user got a kid on the way.
This is absolutely disgusting. I mean, she was definitely a child. You know what I'm saying? I hope that there is justice for Celeste. You know what I'm saying? But I do think the ones closest to David had somewhat of an idea that this was going on. It had to have been somebody close to the to the child that knew that this might have been going on. And you know what I'm saying? I feel like things like this definitely need to get brought to the light, because who knows how many other people or children this is happening to. But David is definitely proven to be one sick individual. My theory, in which David wanted this young child removed. I feel like he possibly felt like maybe they were on to him. Maybe he tried to distance himself and she wasn't going for it. Or my third theory is maybe she was pregnant. Till next time, back at you with another video. House of Trotman. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We out.